We're trying out our new video recorder, and I'm the guinea pig. About 13.8 billion years ago, the scientists tell us, there was a great flaring forth, or as most people know it, the Big Bang. It created the universe as we know it. From that explosion of energy, a vibration of enormous proportions was created, so vast that we can't even imagine it. And it continues today. The universe continues to expand. Everything is still vibrating, and everything is still finding balance. Twice a year, the Earth seems to be in perfect balance during the spring and the fall equinoxes. But in truth, the Earth continually vibrates and wobbles. So from March 20th to March 20th and 1 second later, the Earth is not quite in balance. It's the beginning of the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, and the world for a moment is in perfect balance. Or is it? Ever hear of the term homeostasis or homeostasis? Most of you have, okay. It's the property of a system that regulates its internal environment and tends to maintain a stable, relatively constant condition of properties. In simple terms, it is a process in which the body's internal environment is kept in balance. And that applies to all living creatures, and I would project that it also means for all of the universe. We are born with this system in place, and it works naturally and continuously for as long as we live. Just as the universe and our Earth and all the planets maintain themselves in balance. We are part of a universe, so every atom, every cell of our bodies are a part of this system of balance. Everything is also vibrating, in constant motion, even though we can't see it. If we could find a suitable microscope and put our hand under that microscope, we would be able to see the cells of our blood, the cells of our tissues, the cells of our bones, vibrating, moving, constantly. It happens on this pulpit, on the floor I'm standing on. Everything is vibrating, just at different rates, but everything is vibrating. So actually, there is more space in between the solid mass that you see in front of you than there is the solid mass, because everything is vibrating, and there's space in between that. The symbol of the yin and yang, which I know you're familiar with, the circle that has half of it white and half of it black, but in each section of the yin and yang, there is a small section of the opposite color. These two halves form a complete circle. And the circle, of course, you know, is an archetype. It's a symbol of wholeness or completeness, of God, if you will, or of Source. Perfect balance. Perfect balance allows all. Nothing can be that is not a part of the whole, of the perfect balance of all that is. Perfect balance is our source, or God, if you will. Within us resides that place of perfect balance. We will always, always strive to return to that place, no matter what. It's a natural occurrence. So we're a part of a universal system that is always seeking to find balance. I find great comfort in that, because it affirms for me that I am a part of a greater system, and all of me seeks naturally to achieve balance. When I am in balance, I feel good. Everything is working out fine. I notice the sun shining, I notice a flower, or a child's innocent face, or a kind word or gesture. I feel pleasure, contentment, satisfaction, joyfulness. I feel all of those things when I am in balance. And then something happens and I feel off balance. Sometimes it's just a little thing, like someone cutting me off in traffic. Or sometimes it's a whole lot when I feel betrayed by someone. I want to feel better, but I keep struggling with this problem, trying to figure it out, or blame someone or something, or fix it, or get revenge, or worse, feel despair or powerlessness. Sometimes I think the situation will never end the way I want it to. If I keep up with the struggle, it can manifest in my body and become dis-ease. We know now that the emotions are directly connected to the way our bodies feel. Then I have another thing to worry about when I'm sick. I feel annoyance, anger, hurt, frustration, worry, anxiety. I don't feel good. I'm not in balance. And notice that I am naming emotions. These are feelings that arise when confronted with different situations. Our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, does not just mean respect for other discrete beings who depend on each other for existence. It also means that our bodies exist interdependently with our emotions and our thoughts. Respectfully. Respect meaning to look back on. Our bodies look back to our emotions look back to our thoughts. It's our thoughts that create the emotions, not the other way around. So how do we get back into balance? If we are out of whack, how do we get back in whack? How do we know when we are out of whack? Our emotions will tell us when we are out of alignment. If our predominant emotion or emotions are those that do not make us feel better, eventually our bodies will respond by not feeling well. If our emotions are predominantly those that make us feel good, feel better, our bodies will respond in kind. We will feel good. And when we feel good, we are moving into alignment. We are coming back into balance. Is it possible to achieve balance without a struggle? If I look around me and believe what I am told about achieving and maintaining a balanced life, it seems that I have to exercise in some form for at least 30 minutes a day, so I still have to do more dancing when I go home. I have to meditate for at least 15 to 20 minutes a day, maybe longer. I have to eat from the 4 or 5 food groups every day at every meal, forego sugar, white flour, processed food, non-organic food, meat and dairy products that have not been pasture-fed. I have to drink bottled water, drive a hybrid car, but not too much, have a compost pile and actually use it in a garden, buy only locally grown produce and eggs, clean only with environmentally safe products, support fair trade items, donate to worthy causes, write something every day because that's a talent I have. Shall I go on? Because I have a long list. Do I do all of those things? No. Not every day, and some not at all. I don't have a hybrid car. So how can I be balanced? The answer is I am not perfectly balanced. I am imperfect. Nor will I ever be, as long as I am in this physical body. But when I feel good, I feel better, and I know that I am moving in that direction. I am forever moving in that direction of balance, even when I get stuck while I'm not feeling good. Notice, again, I'm talking about the feelings. So I'm going along in life, I'm feeling pretty good, I'm feeling better about myself, I'm liking myself more, and then, boom, I have a misunderstanding with someone I deeply love. This relationship I thought was solid, falls apart. I'm thrown off balance into a place of powerlessness, anger, confusion, hurt, and deep sorrow. I cannot imagine feeling any worse. I begin to think, how did this happen? How did my so-called well-balanced world suddenly become so lopsided, falling into the darkest of shadows? In an effort to try to feel better, I think thoughts about justifying my position. I might even think thoughts of revenge. I want to change how I feel, don't I? I want to feel better. But like most other human beings, I get stuck in the thoughts that keep me in the place of not feeling better. And this also applies to our bodies. If most of my thoughts are directed toward how bad I feel physically, even though I am feeling pain or discomfort, that's valid, I will not feel better. But if instead I can begin to think about something else, or even do something else that requires my attention, even for a moment, I won't be as aware of the pain or discomfort until my thoughts wander back to it. The Lamaze method of childbirth is based on this phenomenon. The woman in labor uses a very practiced, intense series of breathing, which become more increasingly intense as the labor intensifies, and it distracts her from the rigors of the childbirth. And it also increases her energy because the cells and all of her body are getting oxygen, and so is the baby. So all of this is working together, and most of the time, someone in childbirth that is using this method needs very little or maybe none at all of painkillers, because it's not first and foremost in her mind. It's getting that baby out. It's hard work, but it is something that is a normal procedure. And when we do get angry, haven't we been told to count to 10? Well, I would add breathe while you're counting to 10, because the breath will bring you back into center, or at least close to it. And you can't breathe when you're really angry. You just get all intense and you're not breathing. Well, you might say, I'm really, really, really angry, but I do want to feel better. So how do I get back to feeling better? Well, you can't go from here to there in an instant. You have to gradually bring yourself back into over here where you're in balance. So if I'm angry, if something happens to me, I might feel powerless. That's a pretty awful feeling, not being able to do anything. If I get angry, that's feeling a little bit better than feeling powerless, because that's generating some energy. And if I start to feel some revenge, that's like another action thing I can do. That might give me a little bit more relief. I might feel a little bit better. And if I just keep going and I think, well, maybe if I can just work myself into a better situation. So that's hope. You know, I hope I can get over this. So hope feels better. So I'm moving. I'm moving in the direction of changing the way I feel and coming back into balance. Just as every cell in our body is already programmed to bring itself into a balance, our deeper selves, the self, not the ego, but the deeper self, desires and knows how to bring us back into balance with the source that is within us, is within all of us. And that source is the place of perfect balance. It's our ego that stands in the way of that. Now, I know the ego's been given a bad rap. It's not a bad thing. And we wouldn't have an ego if it wasn't necessary. It's like the gatekeeper. It's the guardian to protecting us as we grow up so that we, can look out for ourselves. But as we mature, that's the time when we recognize that the ego needs to step aside. Excuse me, I need to handle this now, I'm going to get back into balance. And the ego is saying, oh no, I'm going to get revenge. I'm going to get back at that person. I'm going to fix that. But the ego needs to step aside. We need to recognize that it is the ego that is generating that. Hanging on to thoughts that don't make me feel better is part of that. It blocks the way to balance and creates more of the same. The law of attraction states, that which is like unto itself attracts. So whatever it is that is like something, or that is, that is consistent with something, will bring more of that into it. So that which you give your attention to will manifest eventually. The more attention you give it, the quicker it appears. Thinking thoughts of lack keeps you in lack. Thinking thoughts of conflict keeps you in conflict. Thinking thoughts of grief keeps grief present. Thinking any kind of unpleasant thoughts about the past keeps the past in the present. I cannot move to what I want, which would be the absence of pain, the absence of grief, the absence of discomfort, when I am keenly aware of it, because I'm keeping it in the present. And I just get more of it. But when I want a harmonious relationship or a healthy body, I cannot get that as long as I keep thoughts of not having it. If, however, I start thinking thoughts of abundance, that will bring abundance to me. If I think of thoughts of love, it will bring love to me. If I think thoughts of wellness and well-being, it will bring well-being to me. It is the law of the universe. We only need to become aware of the thoughts that we think and decide. Are they bringing me joy or sorrow? Are they bringing me comfort or pain? Are they bringing me ugliness or beauty? Love or disdain? Then choose what feels better. Gradually, incrementally, you cannot go from feeling despair to joyfulness instantly, but you can look at your despairing thoughts and reach for a little hope. A little hope can be a step in the direction of a little more hope that brings relief. And once you start to feel relief, you don't want to go back to where you felt powerless. So you look for something else, especially if it has nothing to do with what the problem is. Eventually, you will come back to the problem, but you will be in a better frame of mind. And you can begin to look for even better ways to find relief. You will be coming back into the place of balance, back to the source of all balance. If you do nothing else, when you go home, just try this one thing. In the morning, before you get up, even before you open your eyes, be aware that you're awake. Don't even think about your day. Just say to yourself, today I will surprise and delight myself. And you might think, oh yeah, right. But just say it. Today I will surprise and delight myself. And then try to say, today I will surprise and delight myself, with a little more hope. Do this for 21 days, and I guarantee you, you will surprise and delight yourself. Now I'm just going to close with a poem from Mary Oliver, who has 3 little pieces of advice for us. Pay attention, be astonished, and tell others. This is called The Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, The world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination. It calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Blessed be.